Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna and welcome everyone. It's Sunday, March 1. Welcome to the Hare Krishna Society's reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, conducted by His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa, who's a senior disciple of Srila Prabhupāda. Just some background, he was instrumental in the construction of two major temples, one in Vrindavan, India, and one in Mayapur. And he was also made in charge of the installation of the deities at the temples in Hyderabad in India in 1976 and in Fiji in 1977. So welcome everybody again.
Thank you very much, Ram Raghava. Today we are celebrating the divine appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although it's occurring on Tuesday according to the Mayapur calendar and Monday according to the American calendar. Because of the weekend situation we are observing today, we will be reading some selected portions from Srila Prabhupada from some of his lectures on the appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also we will be saying a few words about Madhavendra Puri, one of the great acharyas in the disciplic succession of Lord Chaitanya. So we greatly appreciate all of your presence. And without further ado, we will start the reading. Just locate here. This is from the few different quotations about the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the age of Kali Yuga. This is from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the preface and introduction. The word Vishwambhara refers to one who maintains the entire universe and who leads all living entities. This maintainer and leader appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya to give humanity these sublime teachings. This is from the preface of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Before accepting sannyas, the renounced order, Lord Chaitanya was known as Vishwambhara. The word Vishwambhara refers to one who maintains the entire universe and who leads all living entities. This maintainer and leader appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya to give humanity these sublime teachings. Lord Chaitanya is the ideal teacher of life's prime necessities. He is the most munificent bestower of love of Krishna. He is the complete reservoir of all mercies and good fortune. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, and the Upanishads, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, and he is worshipable by everyone in this age of disagreement. Everyone can, further down please, everyone can join in his Sankirtan movement. No previous qualification is necessary. Just by following his teachings, anyone can become a perfect human being. If a person is fortunate enough to be attracted by Lord Chaitanya, everyone can join in his Sankirtan movement. If a person is fortunate enough to be attracted by Lord Chaitanya, he is sure to be successful in his life mission. In other words, those who are interested in attaining spiritual existence can easily be released from the clutches of Maya by the grace of Lord Chaitanya. Next, we have another segment from the introduction to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Just as the moon was produced by the churning of the sea, by the churning of spiritual loving affairs, the moon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Srila Prabhupada explains, when Krishna desired to enjoy his pleasure potency, he manifested himself in the separate form of Radharani. And when he wanted to understand himself through the agency of Radha, he united with Radharani. And that unification is called Lord Chaitanya. This is all explained by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj in the 5th verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada is referring to the 5th verse of the 1st chapter of Adi Lila. In the next verse, the author further explains why Krishna assumed the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna desired to know the glory of Radha's love. Why is she so much in love with me? Krishna asked, what is my special qualification that attracts her so? And what is the actual way in which she loves me? It seems strange that Krishna, as the Supreme, should be attracted by anyone's love. A man searches after the love of a woman because he's imperfect. He lacks something. The love of a woman, that potency and pleasure, is absent in man, and therefore a man wants a woman. But this is not the case with Krishna, who is full in himself. Thus Krishna expressed surprise, why am I attracted by Radharani? And when Radharani feels my love, what is she actually feeling? To taste the essence of that loving exchange, Krishna made his appearance in the same way that the moon appears on the horizon of the sea. Just as the moon was produced by the churning of the sea, by the churning of spiritual loving affairs, the moon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Indeed, Lord Chaitanya's complexion was golden, just like the luster of the moon. Although this is figurative language, it conveys the meaning behind the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The full significance of his appearance will be explained in later chapters. Next, we have a section from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 187. The appearance of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda has surcharged the world with happiness. The purpose of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of the soul. From Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 194. In the purport, Prabhupada explains, the purpose of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of the soul. Before their appearance, all these superfluous activities of the living entities were covering Krishna consciousness. But after the appearance of these two brothers, people's hearts are becoming cleansed, and they're again becoming situated in the real position of Krishna consciousness. in Srimad Bhagavatam. Next, in Srimad Bhagavatam, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described as Nanda Sutta, the son of King Nanda. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says that Nanda Sutta has again appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he bases this statement on his understanding that the Vedic literature concludes that there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is from Adi Leela, chapter 2, text number 9, purport. Prabhupada explained. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described as Nanda Sutta, the son of King Nanda. Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami says that Nanda Sutta has again appeared as Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he bases this statement on his understanding that the Vedic literature concludes there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This the author will prove. If it is thus proved that Sri Krishna is the origin of all tattvas, truths, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, and that there is no difference between Sri Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it will not be difficult to understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also, next, page down, please, is also the same origin of all tattvas, the same absolute truth as he is revealed to students of different realization is called Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Very sweet. Next, we have a statement from the Adi Leela, chapter 2, text 22, that Govinda personally appeared as Chaitanya Gosai. Prabhupada explains in the translation and purport that Govinda personally appears as Chaitanya Gosai. No other Lord is as merciful in delivering the fallen souls. Having described Govinda in terms of his Brahman and Paramatma features, now the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita advances his argument to prove that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the identical personality. The same Lord Sri Krishna, in the garb of a devotee of Sri Krishna, descended to this mortal world to reclaim the fallen human beings who had misunderstood the personality of Godhead, even after the explanation of the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, directly instructed that the Supreme is a person, that the impersonal Brahman is his glowing effulgence, and that the Paramatma is his partial representation. All men were therefore advised to follow the path of Sri Krishna, leaving aside all mundane isms. Offenders misunderstood this instruction. However, because of their poor fund of knowledge, thus by his causeless, unlimited mercy, Sri Krishna came again as Sri Chaitanya Gosai. Next, we have a statement from the Adi Leela, chapter 3, summary. The Lord, being satisfied by his pure devotees, descends to satisfy them. As such, being pleased by Advaita-Ācārya, Lord Chaitanya appeared. Prabhupada explains, according to the Vedic literatures, the foremost occupational duty for humanity in this age of Kali is Nama Samkirtana, or congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The incarnation for this age especially preaches this process. but only Krishna himself can explain the confidential loving service performed in the four principal varieties of loving affairs between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Lord Krishna therefore personally appeared with his plenary portions as Lord Chaitanya. As stated in this chapter, it was for this purpose that Lord Krishna appeared personally in Navadvip in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj, as herein presented much authentic evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures to substantiate the identity of Lord Chaitanya with Sri Krishna himself. He has described bodily symptoms in Lord Chaitanya that are visible only in the person of the Supreme Lord. And he has proved that Lord Chaitanya appeared with his personal associates, Sri Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other devotees to preach the special significance of chanting Hare Krishna. The appearance of Lord Chaitanya is both significant and confidential. He can be appreciated only by pure devotees and only through the process of devotional service. The Lord tried to conceal his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by representing himself as a devotee. But his pure devotees could recognize him by his special features. The Vedas and Puranas foretell the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, but still he is sometimes called significantly the concealed descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Advaita-Ācārya, hold on here. Advaita-Ācārya was a contemporary of Lord Chaitanya's father. He felt sorry for the condition of the world because even after Lord Krishna's appearance, no one had interest in devotional service to Krishna. This forgetfulness was so overwhelming that Advaita Prabhu was convinced that no one but Lord Krishna himself could enlighten people about devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Advaita requested Lord Krishna to appear as Lord Chaitanya. Hold on here. Offering tulsi leaves and Ganges water, he cried for the Lord's appearance. The Lord, being satisfied by his pure devotees, descends to satisfy them. As such, being pleased by Advaita-Ācārya, Lord Chaitanya appeared. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Next, we have a statement from Srila Prabhupada from the Adi Lila, chapter 3, text number 16. Giving too much attention to understanding the exalted glories of the Lord reduces the chance of one's entering into personal loving affairs with the Lord. To teach the principles of such loving dealings, the Lord decided to appear as Lord Chaitanya from Adi Lila, chapter 3, text 16. Prabhupada explains in the translation and purport. Knowing my opulences, the whole world looks upon me with awe and veneration. But devotion made feeble by such reverence does not attract me. Prabhupada explains in the purport. After his appearance, Lord Krishna taught he had not distributed the transcendental personal dealings with his devotees in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. One may understand the science of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from the Vedic literatures and thus become a devotee of the Lord and worship him within the regulative principles described in the scriptures. but one will not know in this way how Krishna is served by the residents of Vrajabhumi. By following scripture, one cannot understand the dealings of the Lord in Vrindavan simply by executing the ritualistic regulative principles mentioned in the scriptures. By following scriptural injunctions, one may enhance his appreciation for the glories of the Lord, but there is no chance for one to enter into personal dealings with him. Giving too much attention to understanding the exalted glories of the Lord reduces the chance of one's entering into personal loving affairs with the Lord. To teach the principles of such loving dealings, the Lord appeared as Lord Chaitanya. I thought we would take a few moments and read a few points about the exalted position of Madhavendra Puri. The disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri was yesterday, and we will read a few selected passages from Srila Prabhupada's books where he explains the unique and very special position of Madhavendra Puri, who appeared before Lord Chaitanya. He was the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri, Nityananda Prabhu, and many other exalted souls. This is from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, from the preface and introduction. Krishna imparted knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Brahma imparted those lessons to his disciple Narada, and Narada imparted that knowledge to his disciple Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva imparted it to Madhavacharya, and from Madhavacharya the knowledge came down to Madhavendra Puri and then to Ishwara Puri. It would be in one of those emails that I sent you very recently, the last 2 days, Ram Raghava. And from him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from the introduction of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. The method for understanding transcendental subject matter is given by Lord Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells Arjuna at the beginning of the 4th chapter, Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam vivasvan manavipraha manurikshvakave bravit. I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku, from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 1. This is the method of parampara, or disciplic succession. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam explained that Krishna imparted knowledge into the heart of Brahma, the first created being within the universe. Brahma imparted those lessons to his disciple Narada, and Narada imparted that knowledge to his disciple Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva imparted it to Madhavacharya, and from Madhavacharya the knowledge came down to Madhavendra Puri, and then to Ishwara Puri, and from him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very important. There's numerous, for those who have not received this little collection of quotes from Prabhupada about Madhavendra Puri, if you send me an email at Yasoda, YASODA 1008 at yahoo.com, again, YASODA 1008 at yahoo.com, I will send you the compilation of quotes. At this point, I'd like to invite Ishan Prabhu, who sent both Ram Raghava and myself a very nice description of the process of bhakti taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how it has come down to Srila Prabhupada, and how we, as Prabhupada students, disciples, and followers, can be absorbed in the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Go ahead, Ishan Prabhu. Hare Krishna. receiving Lord Chaitanya's mercy?
First, we quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 3rd chapter, text number 4. And you're most likely all familiar. May that Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Shachi Devi, may he be transcendently situated in the innermost core of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has descended in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most elevated mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So after we read a verse like the above verse, the question should arise in our hearts, because we're saying that this is freely offered, this love of Krishna in the mood of the residents of Vrindavan, and that we can all have it freely. So the questions that should come in our mind, in our heart, if Lord Chaitanya is freely distributing this madness of ecstatic love of Krishna, and I'm a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, why I don't have it? The answer is that there's a method for receiving this madness of love of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya is freely distributing. There's a method for receiving this, and this is what we're briefly discussing today. The method by which Lord Chaitanya is distributing this spontaneous love of Krishna, and the method by which we can receive it. Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita 4:34, in his purport, that blind following in Krishna consciousness is completely condemned. So he wants us to have realization. So how we do it? So here in this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj reveals to us Krishna's personal contemplations that lead Krishna to decide to appear on earth as Lord Chaitanya. First, Krishna Das describes how Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, and he displayed then his Vrindavan pastimes with all of these personal relationships in the mood of Vrindavan, in the mood of Krishna Loka. I won't read you can see on screen the reference notes from which verse, etc. I'll just read the text so not to take too much time. At the end of the Dwapara Yuga, of the 28th Divya Yuga, Lord Krishna appears on earth with the full paraphernalia of his eternal Vrajadam. Absorbed in such transcendental love in the Vrajadam as we have in our Krishna book, Lord Sri Krishna enjoys in Vraja with his devoted servants, his friends, his parents, his conjugal lovers. And so Krishna Das is describing like this when Lord, and Srila Prabhupada has given us this from Srimad Bhagavatam in his Krishna book. So then Krishna Das explains that Krishna had different thoughts within himself after departing from our planet at the completion of his Vrindavan pastimes. Krishna Das writes, Lord Krishna, he enjoys his transcendental pastimes as long as he wishes, and then he disappears. And after disappearing, however, this is how he thinks to himself. For a long time, this is Krishna's thinking to himself. And Krishna does, he's sharing this with us. Krishna's thinking, for a long time, I've not bestowed unalloyed loving service upon me, upon the inhabitants of the world. Without such loving but without having this loving attachment for me, the existence of the material world is useless. Krishna's thinking like that. He continues, the whole universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, how great I am, the opulences. But love, love that is weakened by this sense of majesty, it doesn't satisfy me. Krishna's thinking, when people think of me as God, as so great, it's not so nice. I like when Mother Yaśodā wants to chastise me. I like when my friends want to wrestle with me. So I'm not satisfied. Krishna Das Kaviraj continues. Krishna's thinking, everywhere in the world, people worship me according to scriptural injunction, but simply by following such regulative principles, one cannot attain these loving sentiments of the devotees of Brajabhumi. Knowing my opulence, the whole world looks at me with feelings of awe and veneration. But that devotion, made feeble by this kind of reverence, it doesn't attract me, it doesn't move my heart. And therefore, Krishna decides to come back to, as Krishna was here 5,000 years ago, then Krishna decided 500 years ago, I'm going to come back. We're going to change this. Therefore, Krishna decides to return to our earth planet and to share with us what is this taste of devotional service that exists eternally in his Krishna Loka planet. Krishna Das Kaviraj continues, speaking the thoughts of Krishna himself. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of this age, this Nama Sankirtan, this congregational chanting of the holy name, and I'll make the whole world dance in ecstasy. Realizing, they will realize these four mellows of loving devotional service. So Krishna is coming to this determination, I'm going to share these rasas of love of Krishna with the people of this planet. I shall accept the role of a devotee. I'll teach devotional service. How? By practicing it myself. By being a devotee, I'll show what devotional service in the spiritual world looks like, what it feels like. At this point, Krishna Das explains the only way in which pure devotion that is practiced in the Krishna Loka planet can be taught to us. Krishna Das Krishna is speaking, unless one practices devotional service to himself, unless one practices this devotional, he can't teach it to others. And this conclusion is indeed confirmed throughout the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. So Krishna continues his soliloquy. He's thinking, my plenary portions. Krishna had so many countless avatars. They can establish the principles of religion for each age. No one but me, however, Krishna is thinking, no one but me personally can bestow the kind of loving service which is performed by the residents of Vraja. Yeah, Krishna is thinking, if the people are going to learn this, they have to learn it from me personally, because all the other avatars, incarnations, they're giving rules how to live. They're teaching yoga, they're teaching jnana, they're teaching so many things. But this love for me that I want them to have, that I enjoy, only I can share. So Krishna thus repeats Krishna's conclusion. There may be many, all auspicious incarnations of the personality of Godhead, but who other than Lord Sri Krishna himself can bestow this love of God upon, this kind of love of God upon the surrendered souls? So Krishna continues to think within himself, therefore, in the company of my devotees, I shall appear on the earth and perform all these various colorful pastimes. And thinking thus, the personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, descended at Nadia early in the age of Kali. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 4th chapter, texts 15 and 16, Krishnadas Kaviraj explains that aside from wanting to experience this love that Srimati Radharani feels for Krishna, he's assuming, Lord Krishna's assuming the character of Srimati Radharani to taste what it feels like to love. It's explained that Krishna has so much ecstasy always, but that Srimati Radharani is experiencing more transcendental pleasure by loving me than even I have myself. I want to taste. So aside from wanting to experience that taste in the mood of Srimati Radharani, he wanted to propagate devotional service in this world where we live, on this platform of spontaneous attraction. In other words, Krishna wanted to share that kind of devotion with us. And his method for sharing that taste of spontaneous love of Krishna with us was through a process of transcendental empathy, that we can feel what he's feeling. Unless one practices devotional service himself, he cannot teach it to others. I shall therefore accept the role of a devotee, and I'll teach devotional service by practicing it myself. So in his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is most significant. Adi Lila, Chapter 1, Text 47, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how Lord Chaitanya's feelings of spontaneous love for Krishna is shared with us through his disciplic succession of pure devotees. Listen to Srila Prabhupada's words. There's two kinds of instructing spiritual masters. Two kinds of spiritual masters that are giving us instruction. One kind of instruction is given by the liberated person who's fully absorbed in meditation, in devotional service. That is his instruction. He's simply absorbed, feeling like this. The other person who is he who invokes the disciple's spiritual consciousness. How? By means of relevant instruction. He's giving us conceptual knowledge, gyan. But the other one, the first one, he's simply feeling Krishna consciousness, and that's how he's teaching. instructions in the science of devotion, Srila Prabhupada continues to write, they're differentiated in two ways, in terms of the objective way of understanding and the subjective way of understanding. The Acharya, in the true sense of the term, in other words, the real spiritual master who can give us a taste of Krishna consciousness, who is authorized to deliver this to us, he enriches the disciple. He enriches with full spiritual knowledge and awakens him to the activities of devotional service, unquote. So that he enriches. You add an essential ingredient, just like you enriching a flour or any other grain, you put in the essential. What is the essential ingredient? For us is the spirit bhakti, the spirit of love. And so the real Acharya, Srila Prabhupada says, he enriches us with this by adding this ingredient of devotion into our heart. So let's try to put this in Srila Prabhupada's purport into our own words. Srila Prabhupada's telling us this is most significant. Please, I beg you, try to understand. Srila Prabhupada is telling us that the Acharya in the true sense of the term, unquote, the real Acharya, the real teacher, he has to be a liberated person who's fully absorbed in meditation and devotional service. The real teacher of Krishna consciousness has to be fully Krishna consciousness. The real person who can share love of God has to have that in his own heart. Otherwise, how he can share it with us? This is why the spiritual master has to be the topmost devotee. And Srila Prabhupada says, he's telling us that the Acharya, in the true sense of the term, who is a liberated person, who's fully absorbed in meditation, in devotional service, he can share his heartfelt experience of Krishna consciousness with us through what Srila Prabhupada calls, quote, a subjective way of understanding. We're learning to feel by his association with Krishna's what devotional service feels like. In other words, we become Krishna conscious by feeling what Srila Prabhupada is feeling. In his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, 5th chapter, 1.5.25. 1.5.25. Srila Prabhupada says in these first three books, everything is there. In that purport, 1.5.25 of Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada elaborates on this process of what he calls in Chaitanya Charitamrita subjective instruction. Okay? Here's the purport. I've condensed it, but I've kept the essential. Anyone can see. Quote, this is the first sentence in that purport. Pure devotion is as much infectious, in a good sense, like an infectious disease. That, in other words, he doesn't, it's not that we learn it conceptually, we catch it. It's not taught, it's caught. We have to catch it. Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain, the neophyte devotee, he becomes enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee. And then Srila Prabhupada explains, what is this infection? It says, infection of the qualities of the pure devotee. What does it mean? It means to imbibe the taste of pure devotion. When you're near someone that you love, you understand how they feel. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of pure devotion. And this transcendental taste, at once, it makes material things distasteful. So I've included in the brackets, in the parentheses here, that we sing every morning in our Guru Puja. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya vinashayate. Prema bhakti ya. From him, this love of Krishna, it emanates. And if we can catch it, automatically our ignorance is destroyed. As soon as devotion is in our heart, Maya cannot touch us. And this is the process. After the elimination, Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, we eliminate our anarthas. This is anartha nivritti. So Srila Prabhupada says that when we imbibe the taste and our anarthas are eliminated, he continues in this purport. After the elimination of all these obstacles on the path of devotion, what happens? One can become attracted as soon as our heart is clean a little bit. Then the next stage, one can have steady. What is steady? Nishta. What are we called? Kanishta. We're unsteady. So how do we become steady? We become steady when we imbibe the taste of Srila Prabhupada's devotion. He's explaining right here. So he says, one can become attracted, one can have steadiness, and then one starts to have perfect taste. And then one can have transcendental emotion. These are different stages in our growth as devotees, our development. And at last, Srila Prabhupada says, one can be situated on the plane of loving service of the Lord. And listen to Srila Prabhupada's last sentence, that all these different stages develop when we are in intimate association with the pure devotee. And that is the purport of this stanza. This is Srila Prabhupada's description of this process of subjective instruction. From him we're learning. From him this love of Krishna emanates. If we catch it, our ignorance is destroyed. There's no other way to this. So by association with Krishna's pure devotee, how? In a mood of ardent submission. So what is this submission? If a policeman comes and catches a criminal and says, raise your hands, you're under arrest, he raises his hands. He's submission. This is submission. But this is not the kind of submission. That's obedience. But Srila Prabhupada is not talking about obedience. He's talking about submission, ardent of the heart, where I want to understand. In the prayer, Guru Dev is explained by Bhaktivedanta Thakur in our songbook. Let me be with you. Let me feel your feelings, your devotional feelings. I offer you all respect, for thus I may have the energy by which I can know you correctly. Then I can chant the holy name with feelings of devotion. Chapter 18, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Quote, the process is that the spiritual master, bona fide, he chants the sound vibration of the Maha Mantra, and if the disciple begins to chant with the same feeling, this becomes the worship of the holy name. We go to can't remember the Harinam Chintamani. Haridas Thakur says, when we chant the holy name of Krishna, we should be meditating on our spiritual master. If we go to our Gayatri, third verse. Let us meditate on the Krishna consciousness, the enthusiasm of our spiritual master, and practice Krishna consciousness with the same enthusiasm. It's here, it's there, it's in our books, it's in our songs, it's everywhere. The Krishna consciousness is not a mechanical process. It's an intimate relationship with a pure devotee. By association with Krishna's pure devotee, in a mood of ardent submission, we can imbibe the taste of his devotion to Krishna. If you go, no, not yet. My wife is wanting to cut me off. And by cultivating in Krishna consciousness under his guidance, our ignorance is destroyed. So almost. I'm making this very brief. You can write a book on this subject. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 18 of chapter 2 of the 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada describes the intimate relationship between the bona fide spiritual master and the disciple. We want to receive from him this feeling, but how can we feel? And they say, so how can we get close enough to Srila Prabhupada? So he's using a metaphor in this description in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 18 purport, how Devaki became the mother of Krishna, how Krishna was put into her womb from her heart, receiving in her heart from Vasudeva, who had Krishna in his heart. Vasudeva is like the spiritual master, and Devaki is like ourselves in this context. Quote, as indicated here by this word, manasta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was transferred from the core of Vasudeva's mind or heart to the core of the heart of Devaki. We should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devaki not by ordinary way for a human being, but by diksha, initiation. We want diksha into our spiritual life. So he says, this is the importance of initiation. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Real initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person who always carries within his heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Godhead within the core of one's own heart. That's why the spiritual master has to be a pure devotee. The Supreme Lord's entrance into the womb of Devaki from the heart of Vasudeva, this was a heart-to-heart relationship. Therefore, when the heart-to-heart relationship with a pure devotee, therefore he lives forever by his divine instruction, and the follower lives with him, that I have a checklist. Get up at this hour, take a shower, Mangal Arti, Srimad Bhagavatam class, Tulsi Puja, distribute books, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. These are all the instructions. So you say, but he lives forever by his divine instruction, and the followers with him. But everything we're reading here is also his instruction. It says it's more than that checklist of instruction, but we have to have a heart-to-heart relationship. This instruction we have to understand. Only when we have a heart-to-heart relationship with a pure devotee who has Krishna in his heart, what is the ability that Premanjana Churita Bhakti Valochanena Shanta Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokyanti. I'll stop. That he has Krishna in his heart because he's captured Krishna by his love. When we can learn to imbibe the taste of Srila Prabhupada's love for Krishna and cultivate that through our own devotional practices, then we will be able to capture Krishna in our heart. This is the process by which we can receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Srila Prabhupada is Krishna's pure devotee. He's eternally engaged in devotional meditation on Krishna within his heart. As we cultivate a heart-to-heart relationship with Srila Prabhupada in a spirit of ardent submission, we can imbibe the taste of his devotion to Krishna, engaging in our own cultivation of Krishna consciousness with the energy of Srila Prabhupada's devotion in our heart. This is the real meaning, the real purport of practicing Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. This is the meaning of what we say, Prabhupada Anuga. Anuga means to follow the emotional feeling. That's what Anuga, Raga Anuga Bhakti, mean we're following the devotional feeling of a pure devotee. This is the meaning of Prabhupada Anuga. And this is the process. And where does he get that feeling of love of Krishna? It's coming down through disciplic succession from Lord Chaitanya, one by one. And this is how we receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. This is the way in which we become not blind followers, but that we have some realization that we want more. We want more. It doesn't mean that we engage like this, that we're falling on the floor. Srila Prabhupada says, then you kick him in the head. He won't mind because he's in so much ecstasy. This means that we're getting the seed, and we're cultivating that seed, and we grow devotionally from here all the way to Krishna Loka, step by step under his guidance. This is how we receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you very much for this explanation. I just want to make a brief comment before we read our verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I once had a conversation with Brahmananda, and Brahmananda made the point that 5,000 years ago, Krishna came, but we have no real connection with what took place at that time. I mean, there is the Bhagavad Gita we read, and Lord Chaitanya was 500 years ago. I said, well, we're now in such and such year, like 1973, 1974. That connection with Lord Chaitanya can only be understood by the mercy and the kindness of Srila Prabhupada. He is here now. He was showed us, practically speaking, just like Lord Chaitanya practically showed how to apply the teachings of Bhagavad Gita with his teaching, his mood of devotion, his introduction of the Sankirtan movement. And Srila Prabhupada practically and pragmatically demonstrated how we can follow Lord Chaitanya and Krishna, because we have no real qualification to follow and associate with his exalted divine personalities. But Srila Prabhupada, through his kindness and his mercy, and that purport that the Ishan Prabhu was reading in Canto 1, Chapter 525, this is very important. The Brahmana was explaining, this is Prabhupada's mercy, that he's bringing Lord Chaitanya and Krishna's mercy right before us and showed us how to associate with these personalities. For one thing, by the chanting of the name of Krishna, Kali Kali Nama Rupi Krishna Avatar. In this age of Kali, Krishna incarnates in his name. There's another verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kali Yuge Yuga Dharma Namer Prachar Tatilaga Satilage Pite Varna Chaitanyavata. That in this age of Kali, the actual religion is the preaching of the name of Krishna. And for this purpose, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in yellowish golden color. So this is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, that we've been given a chance to hear the meaning of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and the exalted position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Because without Prabhupada's explanation, there's a lot of different practitioners of bhakti and regulated bhakti, this bhakti, that bhakti, different ritualistic performances. I know I was in South India for many years, and there are so many different, very nice practitioners of ritualistic devotion. But what we are doing here is learning how Prabhupada had this affection for Krishna, this kindness for Krishna, this unlimited love for Krishna, and he's begging us to take it. He's begging us. There is one conversation where Prabhupada said, don't spend so much time eating and speaking. Read these books, read these books, read these books. Why is he saying that? This is how we absorb that love of Krishna, by following that instruction to associate with the pure devotee, submissively hear from the pure devotee. Hare Krishna.
Just
so
one more,
one more
thing.
Ahead.
The very question that you raised about this conversation, Brahmananda, that Srila Prabhupada writes this identical thing in the first, in Adi Leela of that Lord Chaitanya was here 500 years ago, and people who associated with him could imbibe the taste of his devotion. But we're here now. How can we have that? And Srila Prabhupada writes, quote, one can hear the chanting of Lord Chaitanya today through the disciplic succession. Srila Prabhupada's ecstatic chanting is not different from Lord Chaitanya. It's also explained that Lord Chaitanya enters the heart of his pure devotees so that people in other parts of the world can be exposed to this devotional feeling. So much.
Thank you. We can play Jai Radha Madhava, Ram Raghava. Thank you, Ishan Prabhu.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava
Jai Nitilila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupāda Ki Jai.
Jai Om Pramahangsa Sadasyaman Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridham Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya, Narayanam namaskritya, Naram cheva narottamam, Naram cheva narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udirayet, Tato Jayam Udirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. We are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 33. Uvacha chahasantyasya bandhana anayanam sati mucchatamesha brahmana nitaram guruhu. Uvacha said, cha and asahanti being unbearable for her, asya his, bandhana being bound up, anayanam bringing him, sati the devoted, mucchatam just get him released, brahmanaha a Brahmin, nitaram or guruhu teacher. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. She said, because of being a devoted lady, get him released because he's a Brahmin, our spiritual master. She could not tolerate the Vashvatamas being bound up by ropes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As soon as Ashwatthama was brought before Draupadi, the devoted lady, she thought it intolerable that a Brahmin should be arrested like a culprit and brought her before her in that condition. especially when the Brahmin happened to become a teacher's son. Arjuna arrested Ashwatthama, knowing perfectly well that he was the son of a Brahmin like Dronacharya. So also Krishna knew him to be so, but both of them condemned the murderer without any consideration of his becoming the son of a Brahmin. Because according to revealed scriptures, a teacher or spiritual master is liable to be rejected if such teacher or spiritual master proves himself unworthy of the position of a guru or spiritual master. A guru is called also an acharya, or the person who has personally assimilated all the essence of shastras and has helped his disciple to adopt the ways. As such, Ashwatthama failed to discharge the duties of a Brahmin or teacher, and therefore he is liable to be rejected from the exalted position of a Brahmin. On this consideration, both Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna were right in the matter of condemning Ashwatthama. But to a good lady like Draupadi, the matter was considered not from the angle of Shastric vision, but she took it as a matter of custom. By custom, Ashwatthama was offered the same respect as it was offered to his father. It was so because generally the people accept the son of a Brahmin as real Brahmin by sentiment only. Factually, the matter is different. A Brahmin is accepted on the merit of qualification and not on the merit of one's becoming the son of a Brahmin. But in spite of all these, Draupadi desired that Ashwatthama should be at once released, and it was all the same as a good sentiment for her better than anybody else. This means that a devotee of the Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulation personally, but still such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaham Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shigurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandana Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimaduru Papadam Bhojadulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripa Pikshakunityam Tat Prishta Karomi Swam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I realize that today being a very special day for the observance and celebration of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day, the program is going a little long, but we appreciate your patience. I will speak very shortly. I am going to quote a few things from a lecture that Prabhupada gave on the same verse. This was, let me just get the exact quotation here. This was in Vrindavan on October 3rd, 1976. It was a Srimad Bhagavatam class on 1743. And Prabhupada explains in this lecture, he says, so Draupadi, in the previous verse, it has been described, Vama Swabhava Kripaya Nanama Cha. Vama Swabhava, Vama, women. Women, they are very soft-hearted. Vama Swabhava. So although Aswatthama killed their sons very mercilessly, and he was arrested and Krishna ordered him to be killed, and Arjuna was just preparing to punish him, but Vama Swabhava, women, being very soft-hearted without any consideration, she immediately offered her respect, nanama. Not only she offered her respect to Aswatthama, being the son of a Brahmana, especially of Dronacharya, their teacher. So she immediately ordered Arjuna, muchatam, muchatam, release him immediately. You have arrested a Brahmana. Muchatam, muchatamesha brahmano nitaram guruhu. Brahmana is always our guru. Although he has killed my son, still he sends to be my guru, your guru. So this is Vedic culture, that they know how to offer respect to the proper persons. But Arjuna, he also decided that although Krishna ordered him to kill Aswatthama, he is Guru's son. Although he's not Brahmana, he is Brahma Bandhu. He has been described as Brahma Bandhu, not Brahmana. But Draupadi, being woman, Vama Swabhava, very soft-hearted, she did not consider whether he is actually a Brahmana. The son of a Brahmana, that much she knew. That is the difference. How to calculate whether one is Brahmana or not Brahmana. Brahmana and Brahma Bandhu, these two words are there. Just like if you are the son of a high court judge, you can be called, you've got the right, that son of a high court judge. That's all right. But you cannot claim to become the high court judge. That is not possible unless you are qualified, unless you are actually acting as high court judge. You cannot be called a high court judge. Simply by becoming the son of a high court judge, you cannot become the high court judge. Similarly, simply by becoming the son of a Brahmana, you cannot become a Brahmana. A woman, Vama Swabhava, she can accept that because he's the son of a Brahmana, he is Brahmana. Therefore, this word is used, Vama Swabhava, because women are considered less intelligent in the Bhagavad Gita. Their heart is very soft, just like children. Their heart is very soft, but their intelligence is not very sharp. That is the difference. Striya Shudrastata Vaishyaha. Krishna says, Striya Shudrastata. They have been put in one group, women, Vaishya, and Shudra, because they're not very intelligent. They can be molded by another intelligent man to the proper channel. Therefore, they require guidance. They require guidance. This morning, I was reading about Sita Devi's being kidnapped by Ravana. Now, because there was not Ramachandra present and Lakshmana was also not present, she was unguarded and Ravana took the opportunity to kidnap her. So even Sita Devi, she's goddess of fortune. She's the spiritual potency of Lord Ramachandra. She's not ordinary woman, but showing us the example that even Sita Devi is the original potency. Of course, Ravana could not kidnap Sita Devi as she is. That is not possible. This is described in another Purana, that when Ravana came to kidnap Sita, Sita Devi disappeared from there and she kept a Maya form, false form, and Ravana kidnapped her. This is stated in very authoritative scripture. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, a Brahmana invited him, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at noontime went there, but he saw the Brahmana has not cooked anything. There was nothing prepared, and he was crying and reading Ramayana. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, Brahmana, why are you in such a depressed condition? You are crying. Sir, I am so. He was in the ecstasy of Hanuman. So I am so unfortunate that Sita Devi has been taken by Ravana, and I could not rescue her still. In this way, he was puzzled. So he did not cook anything. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified him. Then he cooked. He could understand that I invited. It was done. Thus, when he was returning, I forget the name of the Purana, Kurma Purana. He got evidences that Sita Devi, when she was supposed to be kidnapped by Ravana, a false form was kidnapped. And when Sita Devi was tested, putting her into the fire, she entered into the fire and the Maya Sita was burnt and the original Sita came out. So it was not possible for Ravana to touch even the lotus feet of Mother Sita. But apparently it is externally manifested that Sita was taken away just to teach us that even Sita Devi is the origin of all potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chit Shakti, Parasya Shaktir Vivideva Sriyate, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila 1365. In this way, Prabhupada is explaining the very unique position of Sita Devi, and he's also in this lecture, he is explaining the position of a real Brahmana. What is a real Brahmana? Real Brahmana means that one has to be very, very qualified. Of course, to be qualified in this age is very difficult. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given that very special benediction that people can be elevated simply by chanting the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'll leave it at that for now. Back to you in the studio if there are any questions. Hare Krishna. Any questions, Ram Raghava?
Hare Krishna. Let me see. There's one question so far by Jairaj. He's asking, Hare Krishna Prabhu, how was Chaitanya Charitamrita compiled by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and to whom Lord Chaitanya narrated Shikshastakam?
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, there is the story given how Krishnadas Kaviraj had been insulted by some relative, and he in a dream, Lord Balaram came to him, told him to go to Vrindavan and all these desires would be fulfilled. He went to Vrindavan and he took permission of the Vaishnavas there and of Madan Mohan, and he started the compilation of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, as far as the exact date when this was done, there's different Vaishnav scholars who have written. It was supposedly done in the final compilation, a very early in 1600s. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita itself is considered the most exalted theological literature in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And Chaitanya Bhagavata, which describes many of the intimate pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was compiled by Vrindavan Das Thakur. That was compiled several years after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya in 1536. This is a very lengthy topic. There is an article that was compiled by a devotee in Ukraine about the exact compilation date of Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you send me an email, I'll dig this article out and send it to you. Again, my email is yasoda1008@yahoo.com, yasoda1008@yahoo.com. As far as Lord Chaitanya, to whom he narrated Shikshastakam, I'm not aware that Prabhupada has ever described this, although in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Antya-lila, towards the last chapter, there is the Shikshastakam is given there. But there's no record that Prabhupada ever told us to whom Lord Chaitanya narrated the Shikshastakam. These are the only verses that were compiled by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Because sometimes members of other sampradayas, they say that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never wrote a commentary on Vedanta Sutra, Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada explained this one time in one lecture, that the entire literatures compiled by the Goswamis, by Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, all these literatures, this is the purport on the Shikshastakam. Now we can imagine Jiva Goswami alone, his entire literary compilation is about 400,000, the equivalent of 400,000 verses, plus Sanatan Goswami, plus Gopal Bhatta. It is a tremendous literary devotional compilation explaining the meaning of the Shikshastakam. This was Prabhupada's explanation of the real purport of the Shikshastakam. I hope that helps. Any other question?
While we're waiting for more questions, I just want to remind everybody, since it's a special celebration today, please don't hesitate to ask questions or give comments. We'll go longer as long as it takes. I had one comment and one question. I found it hard regarding the verse that we read today. I was having a hard time understanding how Draupadi could excuse the person who killed her sons. But I read, and I'll try to find the quote, but this explained to me even more how she was so compassionate that she did not want Ashwatthama's mother to feel the pain that she felt when she lost her sons. So that helped me to understand what a great woman Draupadi was, that she was so compassionate. The question I have is about anarthas. Srila Prabhupada explains how in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami explains the process of devotional service beginning with Shraddha, faith, then association, sadhu sangha, and then initiation or beginning the process of Krishna consciousness, then anarthas. If you could please give more of a comment of what devotees we have to be careful of and guard against in the process of devotional service when we're going through the process of anarthas. What are they? How do we get rid of them? How long does it take, or how long can it take, etc.?
Well, this is a very interesting question, which Srila Prabhupada deals with in many purports. The basic anarthas are the tendency of the conditioned souls towards illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, meat eating, these four basic sinful activities. These are the gross anarthas, but there are also some subtle anarthas. In the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in one purport, Prabhupada describes how the desire for name, fame, and position, this is called subtle sex life. So this is very important in the material world, even though one may have subdued lust or the tendency for sense gratification, still the desire for name and fame and position and all of these corollaries still exist. So this is very, very important. In the writings of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there are many descriptions of the entire process of bhakti, all the way from Shraddha, all the way from seeing Krishna face to face, called Sakshatkar. So the process of anarthas is described by Srila Prabhupada. As far as how to counteract these anarthas, when devotees are initiated, there's always the description by Srila Prabhupada of the 10 offenses. And this is very important because we hear about the 10 offenses against the holy name, but the point is these 10 offenses can be very, very destructive against bhakti. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to Rupa Goswami, he described the entire process of bhakti from receiving the seed of bhakti to the growing process, just like you've described, ado shraddha tato sadhu sangha. So the whole process is described, but Prabhupada in one purport explains, if one is not fortunate to receive the seed of bhakti from the spiritual master, instead he cultivates the seed of social bij, political bij, or philanthropic bij, unquote. In other words, in order to receive the seed of bhakti, just like it was explained by Ishan Prabhu, when he gave that quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Canto, that one has to receive the seed of bhakti from one who is completely pure, completely sinless, a total, complete Paramamsa pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada. Then the seed of bhakti. And this has nothing to do with physicality. Just like we've explained as part of these classes, that some devotees never physically saw Prabhupada, yet Prabhupada initiated them. Some devotees saw Prabhupada for half an hour at the time of the initiation ceremony. They didn't get the chance to watch his dhoti, do some personal service, cook his dal and chapatis. No, they just did service. So Prabhupada, he has set up a process by one can imbibe that pure devotional mentality that he is given by following the process. Now, this is not a mechanical, like you have you buy a TV set and they give you an instruction book. The instruction book that we have is the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I really got a joke when I heard that some of our contemporaries and godbrothers, they form a book called The Laws of ISKCON. Well, let me tell you a little story. In 1970, when a Nectar Devotion came out, I had a conversation with Karandar's brother, Keshava. I said, what is that book? And Karandar's brother, Keshava, said, this book, Prabhupada said, is the law of ISKCON. This is the law of ISKCON. You don't need all kinds of concocted contradictory laws to preserve your so-called position, your self-appointed position. The Bhakti Rasamrita translation by Srila Prabhupada, the Nectar of Devotion, has the complete science of bhakti. This is the law of Prabhupada society. Anybody who is serious about developing bhakti, all they have to do is follow the instruction and read that book. Then you will guarantee imbibe the devotion. But then the question came up that in that book, there's many places, especially towards the third and fourth section of the books, it's pretty difficult to understand. Devotees asked Prabhupada, some of these descriptions that you have given in the Nectar of Devotion are difficult to understand. What was Prabhupada's reply? Just read it again. And devotees said, well, what if we read it again and we don't understand? Prabhupada said, then you read again and again and again, then one day you will understand. This is the same process that Prabhupada said when devotees said, oh, some devotees are having difficulties with following the principles, or sometimes they make a Prabhupada say, just keep chanting and keep hearing. That verse, Srinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana, Prabhupada says, even if you don't understand the language, the Sanskrit, just hear the message and eventually it will take place. But again, the point about offenses in the Nectar of Devotion, there is description of the Nam Aparad, offenses against the holy name, Seva Aparad, offenses committed while worshiping the deities, Dham Aparad, the offenses against the holy dhams. There's a lot of different offenses that Vaishnavas should be acquainted with so they can follow the proper path as given by Srila Prabhupada and pure acharyas like Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and everything. So this is a very short description, but the first point is avoid the offenses against the holy name. One should hear attentively, with submissively, and even if there are difficulties, and let me give you one Sanskrit verse. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there's a description about this exact point. A devotee sometimes will make offenses, and the question is how to remedy that situation. And Sanatan Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami quoted a verse from the Puranas. It described Adadana, that if you go up a slippery stairway, and if you try again and again and again, eventually you will be able to reach the top. In this way, by chanting Hare Krishna mantra again and again and again, eventually one will be cured of the. That is the power of the name of Krishna. Krishna is given, that's like we read in the Shikshastakam, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis, all of his own potencies and opulences are there in the names of God, the name of Krishna. And simply by this chanting repeatedly with love and devotion, eventually one will be cured of offenses. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to show us how to practice devotion, he says, Na anuraga, but I have no taste, I have no attraction for it. So we pray to the pure devotee to imbibe that devotion that he has so we can get a taste. Humbly submitted. Hare Krishna. Some other question?
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, we have a couple more questions. One is from Vamshi Vadan Prabhu, saying, Prabhu, my question is, if a father who has savings, but the child uses the money for service of Krishna after the death of father, now that soul has already left the body and may be in some other body. So will the soul who has done the savings will get the benefit?
Yeah. Prabhupada one time described that all of the parents of devotees, they will all eventually become liberated. There's another place in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada said for 7 generations, other places 10 generations, before the birth of a devotee and after, they will all be liberated. How that takes place is somewhat of a mystery with me, but that's Krishna's promise. So, and Prabhupada made it, but definitely they get the transcendental benefit, and that soul will beget this very, very special benediction.
Thank you. And then there's a question by Chaitanya. He's asking, could you please elaborate on this, that the Lord was transferred to Devaki, not by the ordinary way for a human being, but by Diksha, initiation. Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 18 of chapter 2 of the 10th canto.
That is one of the mysteries of Prabhupada's amazing, absolutely amazing, unsurpassed, unalloyed devotion. This is an explanation that can only be given by a very highly elevated soul, and I'm definitely not on that level. One time a devotee asked me, oh, how did you reach these levels of realization? I said, I haven't realized much at all. I says, I don't even consider myself a Kanishta Adhikari. I consider myself an aspiring devotee that some way or other, by following Prabhupada's instruction or whatever I can follow, that this way, some lifetime, I'll be able to become a real devotee. Anyway, the point is, in that particular purport, Prabhupada is explaining, the real explanation is that unless one is initiated by a person who is completely pure, then one cannot get that power to acquire Krishna within the heart. That's why there are so many references in the writings of Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, that they say that give me that devotion. He's praying, the Vaishnava acharyas are praying that you please give me that devotion. Oi Vaishnav Thakur Tomar Kuru Kukur, Balia Janaho, my dear Vaishnav Thakur, please let me become your dog, your servant. And in this way, I will be able to imbibe that devotion. And there are so many different prayers. We sing every day that prayer, Sri Guru Charana Padma. I mean, we sing, Janme, Janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Hriday Prakasito. People oftentimes will give lectures and they say, oh, you can't have Prabhupada, he's not present. But then they will go sing this song that birth after birth, Janme, Janme Prabhu say, you're my birth after birth. How is he going to be your birth after birth unless he's available, unless he's present? We have to learn how to associate with that pure devotee. This is very important. And this is basically what Ishan Prabhu was pleading with us, that explanation, how to associate with the pure devotee, how to imbue that sense of pure devotion that the pure devotee, the pure personal associate of Krishna has. And in this way, we can get the understanding from Srila Prabhupada, how to associate, how to basically make the spiritual advancement that we need. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Vamsidadana has
Ishan
another
Prabhu.
question.
Ishan Prabhu has his hand raised.
Yes, Prabhu, please, go ahead.
Okay. And we have on this subject, reading again and again, you see, how many chapters are there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? And yet, every chapter ends with the same prayer, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath. Krishna Das is taking Rupa and Raghunath as his gurus, always desiring their mercy. He's saying, This is his eternal position, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. What is that? That I can understand what it feels like to be a devotee, to be a lover of Krishna, praying at their lotus feet, always aspiring to have their mercy. I engage in this service. What is his service? Is this writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps, that at the same time as trying to follow their devotional mood, he's begging them, please let me understand your devotional mood. So let's say the whole prayer in this context, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I'm engaging in my service, following in their footsteps. We can't follow his mood unless we beg him to let me understand your heart. Therefore, a very intimate relationship has to be cultivated as a way of life. Hare Krishna.
I just want to go back to this question that was raised, how Vasudeva was able to transfer the Krishna with his heart to Devaki. In the actual purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada explained, there is no need to think of the Lord. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 18. Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 18. There's no need to think of the Lord artificially as yogis do. Dhyana vastita tadgatina manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. Bhagavatam 12:13:1. Yogis meditate upon the Supreme Person within the mind. For a devotee, however, the Lord is present, and his presence need only be awakened through initiation by a bona fide spiritual master. The Lord did not need to live within the womb of Devaki, for his presence within the core of her heart was sufficient to carry him. One is here forbidden to think that Krishna was begotten by Vasudeva within the womb of Devaki and that she carried the child within her womb. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching for the common man. The form of the Lord, situated in the pure unalloyed heart of Vasudeva, is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere, and specifically within the heart, is called Dhamma. Dhamma refers not only to Krishna's form, but to his name, his form, his quality, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva. He was beyond the conditions of the ordinary living entity. When Krishna is there, it is to be understood that all of his plenary expansions, such as Narayana and incarnations like Lord Nrsimha and Varaha, are with him, and they're not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and the cause of all creation. So it is quite interesting. The last paragraph, Prabhupada explains, commenting upon this verse, Sri Viraraghava-ācārya writes, Vasudeva Devaki Jatarayor Hridayayor Bhagavata Sambandhaha. The Supreme Lord's entrance into the womb of Devaki from the heart of Vasudeva was a heart-to-heart relationship. So this is Prabhupada's explanation. I suggest that you read the entire text and purport, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 18. This will have very good answer to your question. Yes, Prabhu, Ishan Prabhu, please, go ahead.
In this, what you just read, Prabhu, am I clear? That Srila Prabhupada, this is all very metaphoric. We know that the pure devotee is a poet, so he has all poetic. That the sun is rising and the moon is catching the sun, the light of the sun, and it's reflecting. The heart of Vasudeva is emanating from him. Krishna Prem emanates, and so that he's like the rising sun. We, as a student, or Devaki was the student of Vasudeva. His Srila Prabhupada says he was initiating her. So the moon is reflecting the light of the sun. In the 12th chapter of Nectar of Devotion, Srila Prabhupada describes the process. Hiranyakashipu is talking to Prahlad. He said, association acts just like a crystal stone, meaning like a mirror that reflects whatever is placed before it. So, or the moon is reflecting the light of the sun. Our heart is reflecting. Yeah, there's one prayer in our songbook that, like that, the moon is. So we have to receive, and then that love of Krishna that is received from Srila Prabhupada is then reflected towards Krishna. And this is the process of having an intimate relationship. We do this every day. Whoever we associate with, if our heart is really open to them. There's one quote, I don't have the quote in front of me, but if anybody wants to know, it says, it might ring a bell with some of you, that if a disciple has genuine love for a spiritual master, all the most intimate knowledge of Krishna consciousness becomes revealed to him. When we love someone, we begin to understand their heart. When we love someone, we feel a sense of connection with them, a living sense of connection. Love is the medium of exchange that enables us to feel that this is bhakti yoga, where the means and the goal are one and the same. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. I'd like to take also read some of the appreciations that are coming in for those people who are listening on YouTube. There's about 8 people on YouTube. Kevin G says, Dandavats to the assembled devotees, Jai Shri Gauranga. Joseph Lees expressed his appreciation. He said, excellent reading and discussion class. Vangshi Vadan Prabhu has a question. Did any devotee, and also before I forget, Vijay Pandit also, Prabhu, has his hand raised, so I'll get to him in just a minute. Vangshi Vadan Prabhu is asking, did any devotee at the time when Srila Prabhupada was physically present break regulative principles after initiation? And what was the instruction by Srila Prabhupada on that? And should we hear from that devotee or associate with that devotee? Or what should be our perspective to help that devotee?
Well, this particular topic, during Prabhupada's manifested presence, there have been several examples of devotees, and even I'm talking about senior devotees or GBCs or sannyasis who had experienced problems. And Prabhupada, in several cases, encouraged them to stay within the society, do service, and preach and chant. That was Prabhupada's basic instruction. As far as I know, the only devotee that was kicked out of ISKCON was a devotee in 1976, Nitai, who had written a letter to Srila Prabhupada asking for his blessings so he could find a real guru. And Prabhupada's reply was, if I'm not a real guru, why do you want my blessings? And the basic issue with him is that he had been associating with various Radhakund Babajis, caste Goswamis, and got this idea. He told Prabhupada that the disciplic succession, which Prabhupada had given in his Bhagavad Gita, which our Srila Prabhupada got from his Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, that this disciplic succession is not complete because it doesn't give the list of all the living warm bodies in the succession. And the reply that had been given by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is, we follow the succession of the Mahabhagavatas, the Shiksha of the Mahabhagavatas. So in other words, Prabhupada did not think much of that disciple, but other disciples who had been engaged and kept being engaged in devotional service, as far as whether we should hear from that devotee or such and such devotee, well, that is up to you. You have to discriminate whether a devotee is currently following, whether currently following the principles. And if a person is currently following, then you can, hear if you want. That is up to you. You have to use your discrimination.
Thank you for that. And Vijay Pandit Prabhu, you have a question from somebody, if you'd like to say it yourself. Your microphone.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Actually, I made a question written. I have written this. It's written, Gauramani Prabhu makes this question. You want to read or I read?
You can read.
Okay. So Gauramani Prabhu is making this question and he's asking, what should our feelings be toward the elderly and current devotees of ISKCON now that we know how pure Vaishnavas such as Arjun and Draupadi were so quick to forgive offenses such as Arjun and Draupadi were so quick to forgive offenses so serious that Lord Sri Krishna himself condemned.
With regards to the last parts of this statement, that's not perfectly accurate. Arjuna did not forgive. Bhima wanted to kill Ashwatthama. Arjuna did not forgive him. He just brought him, captured him, and put a rope around him, brought him to Lord Krishna. Draupadi was expressing the sentiment as a woman and as a mother like that. But that is not completely accurate the way that it's been portrayed here. As far as what our feelings should be, we should always be respectful towards any Vaishnavas, especially senior Vaishnavas. But we also have to use our discrimination. Discrimination in the sense that we have to see if somebody is misrepresenting the philosophy that Prabhupada gave, or misrepresenting the teachings that Prabhupada gave. We have to use our intelligence and our good sense not to be just sentimental. And what I'm saying by this is, especially with the issue of book changes, especially with the issue of the process of bhakti that Prabhupada gave. This process of bhakti that Prabhupada gave, this is like Lord Chaitanya giving this process directly to us through his pure devotee, empowered personality, Srila Prabhupada. So we cannot change the process that has been given by Lord Chaitanya. We cannot change that. Because we see that many people, they want to make things modern. As all of you know, Srila Prabhupada many times complained that the problem with you Westerners is you change everything. One time he says, you Americans, another time he says, you Westerners, the disease is you change everything. Just follow the instruction. Now we have to use our intelligence because on one hand, we have many senior devotees who've done a lot of service for Srila Prabhupada, for the society. That should be appreciated. On the other hand, there has been a lot of many controversies and a lot of things that have taken place, especially since 1977, after Prabhupada's departure, I mean, Prabhupada is always here with us, but is non-manifested presence, to say aprakrita or alaukika in Sanskrit. There's been a lot of things that have taken place that are not in line with Prabhupada's teachings. So we have to use our intelligence and not just blindly follow persons who have blatantly deviated and changed the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. One question that was brought to me about this one time is, if these people were so advanced and elevated, why did they deviate so much? Why did they allow child molestation? Why did they drive away so many devotees from the society? Why did they abuse and take advantage of so many women and children? So in other words, it's one thing to say, so-and-so is an older devotee, a senior devotee. We should always say, yes, offer our respects. Just like Prabhupada one time said about his godbrothers, you should offer them respects because they're disciples of Guru Maharaj, but do not associate with them because they have deviated from his instructions. So it is the same basic fundamental principle. We have to use our discrimination. That's all I can say for now.
Thank you very much. And we're getting close to the end of the class session. I'd like to invite, it's always nice to hear from Mother Ruchisha, Jiva Goswami Prabhu, Mother Andabaya, and also Krishna Katha Prabhu, if they'd like to make any comments or ask a question. Krishna
Where is
Katha
Mother
Prabhu?
Andabaya hiding? Andabaya Mataji, please say something.
What do I say?
While she becomes unmuted, Jiva Goswami Das here. I want to say that.
Put your picture on so we can see you. We can't see you.
Okay, I took my kurta off. So
Very
anyway,
good. Thank you.
I'm saying that my wife and I are going to go to the Temple of the Holy Name in a few minutes to join the Sankirtan that's going on there right now. And we're faced with this exact same situation where the people that have deviated are going to be in the same room. And I really appreciate your answer that we show them respect, but we don't associate with them. That's very simple, and I like it, and that's what we're going to do. Thanks, Prabhu.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Where is this Temple of the Holy Name? Where is that?
That's just 1 mile from where we live. It's also called the Prabhupada Village, but the temple itself, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
It's in Sandy Ridge, North Carolina.
Okay.
Kevin G added a comment. He said, real nice to join the class again. Was missing it a lot. Thank you very much. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Gauranga. Krishna Katha Prabhu, if you have anything to say, we'd love to hear from you. And Mother Andabaya also.
Again, where is Mother Andabaya hiding? I don't know where she is now.
Mother Andabaya, we want to hear from her. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, can you say something?
Unmute. There we go.
Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for inviting me to say something. I wish I had something to say. Yeah, it's very nice to be back with this group again. I'm really happy to be here and keep up the good work. And you guys all encourage me very much. Thank you very much.
Keep up your good postings on Facebook. You're dishing out some very good sauce out there. Very good.
Thank
I
you.
think that Ishan Prabhu had a brief comment. You raised your hand? Ishan Prabhu?
On the question of why Draupadi was feeling like to forgive. In what we were reading, it was explained that she was guided by custom. It's hard for us in this day and age to understand how much the people of that age, especially in the family, they're all one family, the Kauravas, the Pandavas, etc., all related. everybody. Family quarrel. How much these people are, Dharma is so instilled in them that they consider, as an obvious example, Bhishma Dev loved the Pandavas like his own children, would have Arjuna on his knee as a child. Had Dronacharya, he considered Arjuna to be more dear to him as a student than his own son Aswatthama, and yet they were fighting against the Pandavas in a battle to kill. So how do you reconcile? It's custom. It's being steeped in the ideas of Dharma, that I'm receiving my salary, my maintenance from Duryodhan, therefore I have to support him in the war. These rules of Dharma are so strong with these people, and this is what Arjuna went through before speaking Bhagavad Gita. But all these rules are on the material platform. And so we can see that Draupadi is now in that position, that she's being influenced by cultural values that come from the law books, the Manu Samhita, etc. And Krishna is telling us to rise above and focus and put our activity on the basis of what will be pleasing to Krishna. That's all. That's all.
Very
And
good
that's
point.
where a devotee, yeah.
Very good point.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Katha Prabhu. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Well, it's so nice, Ananda Baya. You're right, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. My respectful obeisances to her posts. They are spot on, but with just the right amount of sauce, as you say, because we have to be respectful. We have to be. The devotees that have come to the Krishna Consciousness movement, this great movement of Lord Chaitanya, this great movement of our Sampradaya that we are so blessed to be experiencing in its growing pain phase, right? For different motives and reasons, one might come this way and another might come for another way, but they're still here. They're still hearing the holy name. And even if they have some material motive, profit, adoration, distinction, okay, so we have to respect and tolerate. So going to a program that is being, funded or put on or filled up in a room with so many that have deviated, we have to take the higher ground. We're there for them. I know it sounds like that's puffed up, but the truth is, someone like Ishan in a room, like Yaśodā-nandana in a room, if anyone knows their level of advancement, you are there for them. They need you. What Ishan said earlier in this program, I know when Paramatma is speaking to me, I know it's touched in my heart. That's why when his wife said stop, I wrote, don't stop, because this is the nectar we hanker for. This level of realization is how we advance, by sharing a particular set of verses. So it's very shastric and bona fide with references, but at the same time, Krishna is speaking through you. That's why we attend these programs. That's why they're potent, because Krishna is speaking through Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is speaking into a dictaphone, and his disciples are typing from dictaphone to paper, and from paper to typesetting, and typesetting to printing, and printing to book distribution. This is Krishna in the original books. We know this. We've all said it because it's true. It's absolute now, and it'll be absolute 5,000, 10,000 years from now, and it was absolute 5,000 years ago. That's the definition of truth that is always true. So going to a whatever community, whatever temple of devotees, I offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, of course, and to the deities, of course. But do I get hung up on the pictures on the altar that are of my God brothers who have deviated? I don't get hung up because they're just not ready. They're still, how do you say, working on their karma and their desires that are not, that are full of anarthas. The desires are full of anarthas. And what about the devotees that are in the category called go along to get along, right? They're there, they cook for the deities, they might dress the deities, they might sew for the deities, or they're part of a book distribution, even though the books aren't the original books, but they don't want to lose their service. So those go along to get alongs are in that innocent phase where they know there's something wrong, they feel it, but they don't want to separate themselves from Prabhupada and his temple, because every temple that has his name on the front, Founder-Ācārya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupāda, is Srila Prabhupada's temple. And everyone that's following his instructions are his true disciples, even if there's just one out of 300 or 3,000. It's still a temple for that one disciple who's sincere, that follows the 4 regs, that chants his 16 rounds sincerely and renders seva. Right? Didn't Prabhupada said if there's no one to preach to the wall? Or was that his spiritual master? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I'm not sure. But the point, though, is you just keep going forward. Because you're either in Maya, going in that direction, backwards, or you're going forward towards Krishna. There's no pause. There's no neutral, position where you're in the middle. It's one or the other. So we be the example. We're not going to offend anyone. We're not going to try to challenge them because it's not the right forum. You don't just walk in and challenge. That never results in something successful. We've seen this. So a proper istagosi where groundwork and boundaries are agreed upon, that's different. Then Yaśodā and Ishan come in and pummel the other side. That's hopefully going to happen. It's already happening. These programs are pummeling the other side because the other side is still in weakness. And out of sentiment, so many are following. Just out of sentiment. It's like a fashion. It's a fashion to have a guru. So, oh, here's one, I'll choose him. And I love the food. But there's no real understanding of disciple-guru relationship. So this is what we're seeing in the thousands and thousands that are being initiated by these bluffer, take advantage, red carpet, credit card, jet set gurus. They're not gurus. It's an offense to even say that they're gurus, because the word guru has a whole different meaning that we all know what that meaning is. And Srila Prabhupada is the guru that's true for ISKCON and any other, grouping, whether they call them ISKCON, themselves ISKCON or not. But if they're following, then Prabhupada is their guru. If they're following his instructions, it doesn't matter if they don't sign on to the corporate, agreement paperwork to be officially an ISKCON. It doesn't matter. If you're following Prabhupada's instructions, then you're a Prabhupada center. And you don't not please. It's not that you're not pleasing to our Sampradaya because you don't sign the ISKCON bureaucratic paperwork. No, it's in your heart. That's the true meaning of following this bhakti process, is accepting these instructions in your heart and doing them every day with shraddha, right? With faith and with love, right? Priti. And so when Ishana was speaking, I said, don't stop, because he was speaking to me all the way into my bhakti lata bij, just like when Prabhupada speaks, like when Yaśodā speaks. This is why we're attracted to this wonderful program. And yes, Mataji, I am so happy it's right back on track. Thanks to Yaśodā, Rupa Goswami, and
Ram Raghava.
And Ram Raghava, of course, more than any other. So Prabhus, thank you so much. I've spoken enough, but I'm just speaking from my heart, which is how Vijay Pandit, he always hesitates to talk, but when he does, it's from his heart. And you can tell, you can know it, right? He's not reading, he's just speaking from his heart. And that's what we do here. We share our realizations, and that's how we advance. I'm a million miles away from anyone on this program, but by listening, I advance a little bit, and that's why I tune in.
Thank you, Prabhu. And
Hare Krishna.
Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, go ahead.
Just a very brief comment. Many times people use the term whether they are in ISKCON or out of ISKCON. What Ishan Prabhu was describing today is what is the con, KCON. What is the meaning of the con? How do we practice KCON? What is the proper understanding of KCON? Then all of these questions about the IS can be understood properly. Unless somebody clearly understands, according to Prabhupada's instruction, what is Krishna consciousness according to Prabhupada's instruction, then all of this corporate understanding or corporate allegiance. Well, I did not join a corporation when I came and first saw Prabhupada in 1967-68. When I was first reading Bhagavad Gita in 1969, I felt this is exactly what I've been looking around my whole life. Nobody in this world could explain the basic fundamental questions like Srila Prabhupada. He's the only one who can present Krishna consciousness purely according to the teachings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, according to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And if anybody, it doesn't matter whether they live in ISKCON or outside of ISKCON. That's like one time we went to Prabhupada. Prabhupada asked us in Bombay, well, what do you do in the morning? What do you do? He says, well, we get up like 3:30, 3:45, take a cold bath, put the tilak, mangal artik, tulsi puja, japa, bhagavatam. And then we told Prabhupada, but there's no ISKCON center there. Prabhupada, that is ISKCON. Prabhupada said, when you follow this, that is ISKCON. So the point is, now we're confronted with a situation of people who claim to be following KCON, but they're changing the books of the founder of ISKCON. This is very clear. You cannot change the books. When you change the books, you're changing the teachings. You're disobeying the Acharya, Guru Ramanya. So this is a very important point. But thank you very much for your comment, Krishna Katha. I don't deserve any of these comments, but Ram Raghava, thanks to his kindness, he's the one that's really helping to put this program together. And I really want to thank Ishan Prabhu for your comments and presentation today, and anybody who has participated. As we know, we're trying to build this program, trying to refine this program, and we encourage devotees to communicate with us. If any one of you want to send us questions, or besides these very brief format of question and answer at the end, you can send to Ram Raghava or Rupa Goswami or my lowly self, send us an email, and we'll do the best we can to respond to you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. And before we recite the Vaishnava Pranam, the prayers to the Vaishnavas, I would like to ask Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu if he has any announcements. And I'd also want to add, for those of you who stay, at the end of the program, after the Srila Prabhupada Kirtan, I will continue sharing the nectar of the video of Jayananda Prabhu, Jayananda Thakur, who was a completely selfless devotee who Srila Prabhupada said went back to Godhead when he passed away in 1977.
Basically, if anybody is interested in distributing the original 1962 Bhagavatam, please contact us, or Bhakta Ronald Singh as gmail.com, BHAKTA-RONALDSINGH@gmail.com, or send us some information, and we'll do the best we can to provide you either some individual copies or become a distributor. You can also do that too. We have special pricing for people who can become distributors too. So that is all for now. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everybody, for participating. And Ram Raghava Prabhu, you can take it from there and make whatever appropriate comment, or that will be fine.
Next is the Kirtan by Srila Prabhupada, short Kirtan, and after that will be the video of Jayananda Prabhu.
And thank you for hosting the program.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So as promised, here's the video of Jayananda Prabhu. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you'd like to say anything about Jayananda, it would be great. All I knew about him was that he joined Prabhupada in 1967 or 68 in San Francisco. Soon after he came there, he was an engineer, and he worked as a taxi driver to support the San Francisco temple. And he was instrumental, or actually he got the Ratha, the cart, constructed the cart for the Rath Yatra in San Francisco, so much so that Srila Prabhupada asked that his picture be put on the carts of the Rath Yatra. Even to this day, you can see his picture on the front of the cart.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jayananda, as you mentioned before, Prabhupada considered him a pure devotee who went back to Godhead. And interestingly, I was in Prabhupada's room in 1977, in the beginning of May, and Prabhupada was there with Dr. O.B.L. Kapoor, a disciple of Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, who used to come and meet with Srila Prabhupada every time Prabhupada came to Vrindavan. And they were talking in Hindi and English about Jayananda. And Prabhupada was describing to O.B.L. Kapoor how at the end of his life, Jayananda was hearing the Hare Krishna mantra And Prabhupada said that he went back to Godhead, and Prabhupada quoted that verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvataha tyatvadeham punara janma naiti mamiti so Arjuna. And it explained that by remembering Krishna at the time of his departure, Jayananda went back to Godhead, and Prabhupada started to cry. Some tears fell from his eyes. So, I mean, in my personal experience, definitely Prabhupada confirmed that he was a pure devotee with no personal motivation. Very, very exalted soul. Very exalted soul. Hare Krishna.
Diana that looks like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, he was tall and stout and strong, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, very good.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bala Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Bala Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Bala Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare